So, hi and welcome to the first episode of the Kind Co Sustainability Podcast. I'm your host, Janavelli, and today on the show, I've got Bilal Bhatti from PaperTale. PaperTale has developed a tech solution built on the blockchain to provide consumers with transparency throughout a complete supply chain on their favorite fashion items. So thank you, Bilal. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jenner, for inviting me and giving this opportunity. I'm excited.
Fantastic. I've got to say, when I discovered what you're up to, I instantly needed to get you on the show and wanted to really have you share your remarkable story with our listeners. So, firstly, tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. I'm Bilal, founder of PaperTale. I'm a textile engineer, and I was lucky enough to be a gold medalist from Pakistan, where I got my engineering degree. And then I moved to Sweden with a lot of dreams, and I did my master's from one of the best universities in Borås, which is a small town in Sweden. And I thought I'll just get a great job and I'll settle. Then I couldn't find jobs. I applied almost 200 CVs, and that was shocking to me because I was never used to applying for jobs. And I was headhunted in my engineering. And so then one day just dawned upon me that maybe I should start creating jobs instead. And just one thing led to another. And fast forward over 5 years, we are a small team in Malmö, Sweden, and we have about 100 people running a factory in Pakistan. So yeah, it's been quite a journey, and which I'm of course proud of.
What does PaperTale actually mean?
PaperTale is actually the story of a paper boy, as I mentioned, that I personally ended up as a newspaper worker myself in the nights here in Sweden, cold Sweden with minus 20 degrees, which was quite difficult for a guy from Pakistan. So I got my the first 5,000 crowns, which is perhaps like 500 pounds, as a tax money for the newspaper job, and that's how I started this company. I had 1 month to do the magic. So this has a personal touch to it. But basically, if you look at the logo, it looks like a SIM card and also a newspaper turn. And this has a connection with the future and also with my personal story. And the paper tail rhymes with paper trail, which basically is the traceability behind it. So yeah, that's the whole concept is behind.
It makes sense. I like it. Good, nice. So it's very cold there in Sweden delivering papers.
Yeah.
So you definitely know what you're talking about, getting into the fashion industry, right? So what made you stumble upon this idea? What gave you this passion to start something? Because it takes a lot to go off on your own and build something. So tell me about that process.
It's been an evolution process. I've been connected to fashion industry for over 15 years in one capacity or another. And I've been part of the production process where I was as a production manager in Pakistan in one factory. And then I ended up in Sweden and started working for some Scandinavian brands. Then I ended up as a buyer. So I could see the both sides of the industry to quite in depth. And I figured out that sustainability is, frankly, it's kind of joke within the industry. Because what happens is fashion industry is the second biggest polluter on earth. And it's one of the most labor-intensive industries as well. So, but sustainability has been used as greenwashing in most of the cases. I give an example, like the cheapest product you buy, like a T-shirt in the market, that is like $20. The highest brands are actually paying to the factories is just $1. And then the demands are put for great working conditions, and like all this sustainability uh, certificates, and the whole responsibility is put on the factories when they're not making even any money. So everybody knows, and factories are just signing the papers, and it's rather easy to buy a certificate, frankly, and than just to implement a fraction of it. So when I got into this, I was honestly quite disturbed by it almost the whole time. I was losing customers all the time because I couldn't lie. For example, if I say that I used organic cotton, which is in some cases 3 times of the normal cotton price, then I would deserve to be paid accordingly. But the problem was the brands want to put these things, but then they don't want to pay for it. I'll just give you a perspective. The whole world's organic cotton production is 0.7% only. But if you just look around and you see in the market how many claims you find of organic cotton, and I started thinking that how this is all happening in the daylight, and consumers have no way of finding out except they just see nice pictures of great factories. It's all marketing stuff. So then I started reading some studies, and I found out that consumers are willing to pay for sustainable products, but they don't trust the system. And then came the idea that what if we can make something for consumers in a nice, easy, and user-friendly way where they can see uh, what's happening down the line, and they can directly impact the system. Uh, and this that actually, I just wanted to fight against it, frankly, and not just give up. So yeah, that was it.
If I heard you right, you're trying to provide transparency to the end consumer, because at the moment, as a consumer, we're just seeing the end product. We see it nicely packaged, and we're told that it was sustainably sourced or using organic cotton, and we have no real understanding that that is true, if those claims are right. So how are you providing this transparency? Are you taking, you're flying consumers over to Pakistan and the factories to show them around? What are you doing?
That's very interesting that you brought this up, because there's so many things about sustainability that even I don't understand it. And we expect consumers to be lawyers first to understand what is that trade, what is that certificate, and that certificate, what does that do? So that was the whole point, that how can we simplify everything?
Thanks for explaining a bit more about what PaperTale means, your story, where you come from. But I'm getting, I just want a simple answer on what it actually does. What is it?
I would love to tell you, man. It's too nerdy stuff, and I hope I can get the grasp of it for everybody. We have two major aspects of it. One is the worker side, the social aspect, and the other is the environmental aspect. So what we have done is we have built up 7 different things, 7 different technological solutions, including apps and also the supply chain networks and the blockchain network. So everything is authenticated on the blockchain. Basically, all the information that you see in the system, that you don't have to go even on our network. You can go in any open blockchain network and see those transactions. So we have simplified it in a way for average consumer to understand these things. But behind the scenes, it's actually quite complex product, because in some cases we're using authentication methods by buying and selling, based on actual transactions. And in some cases, for example, the workers' job, we are logging their work automatically by the use of these smart tags, which travels in the production process. So it's hard to really grasp in an easy way all these 7 things. I can just quickly give you a tour that it's not like meeting in person, but it's like that feeling. For example, we have this small little tag. We call this PaperTale Smart Tag, and we have launched a concept collection to reach the consumers. And what happens is you just scan it here with your smartphone, and it's NFC based, and that opens up this little app. Maybe you can see it here. And let me just show you.
So Bilal, you would have, as a consumer, I would have had to download the app of yours, or is there advice and information on the jumper or the t-shirt or the garment when I purchase it?
That's the thing, because PaperTale garments, at the start, we have made our own concept collection. So it's available only for our products. And you can see this smart tag on every garment we have. And that opens up the door to you. And then you have to download this app. And what happens in this, you can just see first the workers behind every product. That same particular product, it's not just like some of the workers in a factory, but this is the whole process behind that automatically registers, logs the work of the workers. And so what you do is, here you can see the basic worker profile, which ensures that there is no child labor, because there is an age, there are how many dependents they have. And the cool thing is, we wanted to make it interactive. We wanted to give the feeling that it's like they're actually human beings working behind. So you can even pay them the tip directly, which is all traceable. And you can also crowdfund quality education for the kids of the workers, or the skill enhancement for the workers. This is we wanted to combine like a social experience with the shopping experience. So you are buying anyways these things, maybe 5 or 10 crowns, or like 10 cents is nothing for you. But this can definitely change a lot of lives, because good education has been the biggest problem. You won't believe that not in India, not even 1% of the workers have the written contracts. So there are a lot of talks about these living wages, but the first worry is that not even the basic minimum wages. Because in my experience, my gut feeling is that approximately 80% of the workers are not even registered. So this, we wanted to create like a direct impact feeling. And that's the one part of it. And the second part is about the environment. Let me show you here. This is the environmental journey part, where you can see what cotton was picked, what method was used. Was it drip irrigation? Was it flood irrigation? Because drip irrigation saves roughly 50% of the water. And so based on this actual information, it calculates the CO2 emissions, and it calculates the use of water in the whole process. So this information is all authenticated. And by this, people can make conscious choices on their own. They can decide if they want to buy this garment or this garment. That's our future that we're looking at.
So fantastic. This all sounds all well and good, but so what stage are you at now, and how are you actually able to implement this technology to garments right now?
We have a factory in Pakistan where the technology is being implemented. And then we have made a concept collection, like I said before, which is like a basic line of clothing, which is everyday use. It's a hybrid of sportswear and formal wear. We have used the best materials, like the best cotton in the world, called Supima cotton, which people are not using anymore because they want to cut the prices all the time. So this is one of the most sustainable materials. So at first stage, we are planning to market it through our own concept collection. And we're launching that on Kickstarter on 13th of November. And the consumer will be able to buy our first collection. And if they like this concept, then our plan is to implement in other brands who approach us. Because the whole 2 years down the line, this whole development, we have kept one thing in focus, that this should be usable in other supply chains, not only our customized supply chains. So that's the future we want to see. Because, considering the fashion industry first as the second biggest polluter, and if we can tackle that, then move on to the other industries. Medicine. This traceability, this level of traceability is the need of the hour. And that's our plans for the future.
Fantastic. So I'll be able to go onto the Kickstarter campaign in when it launches, which we'll provide a link to in the show notes, of course. This will be on the 13th of November, 2019. So for the listeners out there listening in the future, hopefully the product will be available in your local stores and within your favorite fashion items. So can you tell me, what are you up against right now? Where are you seeing the next hurdles that you need to navigate?
This is quite interesting question you brought up, because our feeling is that maybe we are a little too early with our concept that we get from the market, because this level of transparency, this will expose a lot of things. A lot of brands, I can't name drop, but it's very difficult for them to implement in their systems at the moment, because this is the real deal. And so we feel that there might be some challenges we might have some will be discouraged by some not only brands but maybe some charitable causes, because we have one function where you don't need to buy anything, you can directly donate to the workers' kids, and it all is transparent. But just look around all the charitable causes, mostly we are a bit skeptic that where all the funds end up. But in this case, you can directly trace that it actually you educated somebody. And so we feel that maybe we already feel sometimes from some close circles that the industry might be a bit not very happy, let's say, about our approach. So
I can imagine. They have their legacy supply chains in place. New tech will disrupt things anyway, but the fact that this technology is providing transparency to the end consumer of the level of sustainability, what they're using, what they're actually potentially paying their workers, could cause some very unhappy people.
I mean, this is the thing. It's very important to understand here that our approach is not to take fights with anybody, because we believe in finding a solution. And that's the reason we call ourselves crazy idealists. And, in another way, paper tellers. But because what I mean is that we want to find a solution for everybody, for fashion industry. And if they are willing, then they can start an overhauling process. Because I can understand that it's a complex industry. It's very complex. And I mean, for any developing countries where today most of the sourcing happens, roughly 60% exports are indirect. Nobody knows who are those factories. And it's going to be gradual change. So we believe that, but the right people will understand it, and they would like to, we hope they would like to embrace it. But the people who are in it for only the commercial gains and without the regard for the people or the planet, then they will definitely be our enemies. But we want to give this message that we are in it for a solution.
What does sustainability mean to you?
That's a bit deep question. And I'm really delighted to answer that, actually, because sustainability in my world is all about caring for others, be it environmental issues, be it social issues. It's all about care. Because when we talk about sustainability, when we talk about climate change, for example, we are caring for our next generations, basically. Because perhaps we are not living in that catastrophic times, but we have to care about others, and the same goes with the social aspect of it. Like the workers, I mean, imagine we are today living in a world where 80% of the world population lives in developing countries. We're just using them as slave labor, to be honest. I was reading in one data that today there are 36 million enslaved people, and textile industry is one of the major contributors. And not long ago, maybe a couple of years back, there was a big factory fire in Bangladesh, and more than 1,000 people lost their lives just making clothes. and they had all the nice certificates. So I believe the sustainability goes very deep for me. That it's kind of for me and for the team. We have piled up really great people. It goes deeper. That if we care for others, it goes deeper. Like when I started thinking of giving jobs, things started changing for me. Frankly, that's how the name comes. I ended up as a laborer myself. When I couldn't find jobs in Sweden, I started delivering newspaper in the nights. And that was a very dark time for me because I was highly educated. And so when I started caring for others, things started changing for me as well in a good way. And that's the message I want to spread. And so sustainability goes deeper actually in my world in a sense.
No, that's lovely, Bilal. Thank you for that. And it's one of the questions that I'm going to be asking all of our guests on the show. So it'd be very good to kind of bring that all together and see how that plays out as we go through. But so you're saying caring for others is a major part of sustainability here.
Yeah.
So with that being said, is there anyone that you admire or look up to, either in the fashion industry or not, that's doing really good things for sustainability and climate change?
I have read a book about Yvonne, the founder of Patagonia. That's the American brand, who is quite on the forefront of sustainability. And I was quite impressed that their drive seems to be genuine, and I look up to them, and I think they're doing a lot of things about that. And maybe at some point we partner up with them. We don't know, but yeah. That's I see is one of the good guys, and probably there are many which I haven't discovered yet. But a lot of people are contacting us, and which is very nice. So yeah.
Could you help us understand or tell us about your favorite recent find of a product, a sustainable product that you really love? Not your own, of course, but
my sustainable product, it goes back to the same Patagonia actually, because in a way that inspired me to develop this as well, where I found one T-shirt which was using recycled polyester, and there was some data printed on the T-shirt at the neck, which got us inspiration to build up our environmental calculator part, frankly. And so I like the approach, educating the consumers, and yeah, it's that's probably would take the top. And in my world, you might have noticed that I'm a little skeptic of other products because yeah, I see that you have to know more when you start buying sustainability claims.
yes, certainly you can get yourself tied up in the tiny elements of the product. Especially, I often find myself trying to make conscious buying decisions, and it's tough. As a consumer, even someone that's worked within the sustainability industry, fashion industry for the last 6 years, you don't have all the answers, and it's also truly sustainable, impactful products aren't attainable to the everyday person. So it is tough. Hopefully, by people like yourself and your team doing fantastic things, the world will start to become a better, easier, and more understandable place for us to make better decisions. What's one small change that our listeners can start to do immediately that will have a positive impact on the planet?
I think, like you said, it's a bit hard, but that's a really good start. That to start asking the right questions, because that's what will bring the real change. Whatever the brands we like, we just dig down more, push them to sustain. And it's tough for them. We need to help them as well. But the more we ask questions, the quicker we'll see a better world. Yeah. So I think that I would like to tell that to my listeners that that's the way forward, in my view.
Guys, you heard it here. Ask questions. That's the only way you're going to be able to discover and That's the only way that brands are going to know that you care, is by asking the questions. Don't be afraid. But look, I really thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just support us. Please spread the word. Join us at Kickstarter on 13th of November. It's 4 in the afternoon in European time. And yeah, that's my message. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bilal. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for your time. So that was the very, very friendly Bilal from PaperTale, the app that's giving consumers transparency on where their fashion items are coming from and how they were made and their environmental impact, all logged via smart contracts on the blockchain. Incredible stuff. Please click and support them via their Kickstarter campaign. You'll also get a lovely PaperTale garment for your support, and you'll be one of the first people to really start a movement in making sure that we're doing better things for the world and our friends and family. So I've been your host, Jana. This has been the KindCo Sustainability Podcast, and we exist to help you make better buying decisions. Please, can you leave us a review, share anything you've learned from today, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.